Hello everyone, and welcome back to cedh Budget Bible. Today we're going to be going over some underrated red cards for cedh. So to start it off, we've got cedh. Now it's a common from Cold Snap for 1 red. It's an instant that reads, cedh deals damage to target creature equal to the number of snow permanents you control. So it's just, Lightning Bolt, if you control more snow permanents, deals more damage. It scales really well with the game, and it's, cheap, instant speed, can hit, for potentially a lot of damage, and it does only hit creatures, but, it's 1 mana, and it can deal a lot to 1 creature, which I think that's, pretty good. Just a good red removal spell, and it's pretty cheap. See, 75 cents, 75 cents, 79 cents. So yeah, that's pretty good for a card. Moving on, next, if it wants to load, we've got Volcanic Fallout. Now, let's grab one with text on it. This card's been printed quite a lot, as you can see. This card was, it is a instant for, 2 red and a colorless, and it reads, this spell cannot be countered. Volcanic Fallout deals 2 damage to each creature and player. So it's Pyroclasm for 1 more red, but there are some advantages you get, like, this is instant speed, and it can't be countered. So those are, pretty good upside, especially for, decks don't really play a lot of board sweepers, but I'd say Pyroclasm, Toxic Deluge, Fire Covenant, those are pretty good. And I'd argue that this and one other one is pretty good. And this card's super cheap. It's, 10 cents. It has a bunch of printings. There's even a textless version, if I'm not mistaken, for like a few dollars. Yeah, there's this cool version for 47 cents, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Moving on to the next card. Now, another thing red is good at, as we know, is artifact destruction. So, Shattering Spree destroys artifacts, clearly, but let me read off the card. It's 1 red for a sorcery, which was printed as an uncommon in Guild Pact, and it has Replicate for 1 red, which reads, when you play this card, copy it for each time you paid its replicate cost. You may choose new targets for the copies, and it reads destroy target artifact. So you pay 3 red, copies it 3 times, which is really good because it makes it harder to counter. They need a storm spell to counter the copy, and it's on cast that you activate the replicate. It's not you cast it and then they get priority to respond with stuff to counter it. So it's nice, uncounterable, destroys artifacts, and it's $1 and a couple cents for a regular version. So if you're looking for more artifact hate, I'd say pick that up. It's a pretty good card. Next card up, we got Anger of the Gods. Anger of the Gods was printed as a rare in Theros. It has multiple printings in some master sets, I think. And it is a sorcery for 2 red and 1 colorless, and it reads, Anger of the Gods deals 3 damage to each creature. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. So, this card is the same thing as Volcanic Fallout, but it has some other advantages. It's not instant speed, but it deals 1 more damage, and the creatures are exiled. So those are the advantages that Anger of the Gods has over, what's that card? Volcanic Fallout, and over Pyroclasm. So if you're looking for red board sweepers, I'd suggest Anger of the Gods. Next card is a mini wheel. Burning Inquiry was printed as a common in Magic Core Set 2010, and it's a sorcery for 1 red that reads each player draws 3 cards, then discards 3 cards at random. So, we play this on turn 1, and you can really mess up their hand. you draw 3 cards, shuffle, and then you do your little discard. Like, it's basically like a gamble, but you draw 3 cards instead of search your library, and you discard 3 times. But I think, in some wheel decks, it can be good. Like, it sees play in like a couple wheel decks, but I think it deserves to see more play just for, good card draw. And yeah, it's pretty cheap, 64 cents, 80 cents, 88 cents. Pretty cheap card, so if you're looking for that, pick up a Burning Inquiry. And now we have one of my favorite cards on the list. Burnout is an instant. It says interrupt, but it's an instant. It's printed as an uncommon in alliances, and it reads, counter target instant spell if it's blue. Draw a card at the beginning of your next upkeep, and it costs 1 and a red. So it's just a 2-mana counter spell that counters blue cards, and you get to draw a card. That's pretty good. Like, even in decks where it's, just a regular control deck, that's pretty good. Like, most of your counter spells are going to be in the 2-mana range, and it also counters a blue spell and draws you a card, which is, pretty ridiculously good. And this card is 50 cents, 55 cents, 63 cents, so pretty cheap for, pretty good counter spell. So if you're looking for a neat card like that, pick that up. Now this card, this is a weird pick, but I really like this card. It's a stacks piece, and let me read it. Ashling's Prerogative is a rare enchantment printed in Lorwyn, and it reads, Ashling's Prerogative comes into play, choose odd or even. Each creature with converted mana cost of the chosen value has haste. Each creature without converted mana cost of the chosen value comes into play tapped. So, you give all creatures that are usually even, haste, so they all gain haste, they can attack, tap, whatever, and then you give like all mana dorks and like your big mana producers, you give all of them, they come into play tapped, so even if they had haste, they can't tap. I don't know, I think this card is, like, it belongs in some decks, not all, but I think this is just a cool card, and it's 50 cents pretty much down the board, so if you're looking for a unique red stacks piece, pick that up. Now this next card, is like, by no means is this card like budget, but it is a really good card, and it belongs in like more decks than it's currently in. So Firestorm it's an instant for 1 red that reads, choose and discard X cards. Firestorm deals X damage to each of X target creatures and or players. So Firestorm, you cast it at instant speed for 1 red, and then you discard X cards, and it deals X damage to any player or creature, I guess. But this really belongs in those Mardu ad nauseum decks, where you just cast a ad nauseum or Peer into the Abyss, draw a ton of cards, then you can discard your entire hand, and yeah, you just win. So that's why I really like this card. It's $11, $13. It's not a budget, but it definitely belongs in decks that's not seeing play in. So that's why it's on. Whoops! I accidentally cleared a card. So sorry. Guess we're gonna be 1 card short today. Gorilla Shaman is a 1-mana creature. It's a gorilla. I don't know if that's a creature type. It's a 1/1 with a cool ability that reads X, X, and 1. Destroy target non-creature artifact with casting cost equal to X. So you pay 1 mana to blow up any 0 mana artifact on a creature. And you can pay, 3 mana, blow up a 1 mana artifact. You can pay 2, blow up a, or you can pay, it'll be 5 to blow up a 2 mana artifact. So yeah, this card's just good for artifact hate, sits on the battlefield, can deal with artifacts, and it's pretty cheap, 28 cents, 33 cents, so if you're looking for artifact hate, pick this up. Another card in the artifact hate category is Meltdown from Urza's Saga. Meltdown is a sorcery for red and X that reads, destroy each artifact with total casting cost X or less. So, this, it does destroy your own artifacts, but, you pay just 2 mana, blows up all 1 and 0 mana artifacts, pay 3, all 1 and 2. You'll clear the board of artifacts. So if you're not an artifact deck, I'd recommend that you pick this up, because, you know, this card's pretty sweet. It deals with all those early starts, and yeah, that's really why I like this card. So next card is, and also the final card, is Orcish Lumberjack, which was in the Cold Snap theme decks, and it's a common. It's a creature orc. It's a 1/1, and it for a single red, and it reads tap, sacrifice a forest, add 3 mana of any combination of red and or green to your mana pool. So it's pretty cool. It just gives you a huge burst of mana for sacrificing a forest, and it's only a 1 mana creature. So I think, you know, it deserves to see, you know, play in more places that it gets play in, because, you know, it just gives you a ton of mana, just like super easily, just straight out the gate, tons of mana. And it's only it's very cheap, 74 cents, 75 cents, 38 cents, $1. It's a super cheap card. So if you're looking for that, you know, quick burst of mana at the start of the game or anytime in the game, pick up Orcish Lumberjack. That's going to be it for me from cedh Budget Bible. This is Josh signing